Beginning with politics, where it has been said that you never say never because things can turn pretty bad or good in a short while. The leadership tussle within the ruling All Progressives Congress, that's the APC, took a new twist when it was reported that President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the removal of the chairman of the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Mai Mala Buni. Now, Governor Buni has been replaced with Governor of Niger State, Sani Bello. Amidst the controversy surrounding Mr. Buni's removal, Governor Bello and some chieftains stormed the party secretariat in Abuja for a closed-door meeting, and he emerged later, told newsmen that there is no cause for alarm, and the March the 26th National Convention date stands. Let's hear more from him.
Party chairman, they took their vote of today, and we discussed progress made so far on what needs to be done next so that we achieve March 26th date for convention. That's all.
Sir, in what capacity did you make this move, sir?
Acting chairman. I've been acting for a while as the chairman travels.
Okay, sir, can you confirm to us the news that you have been appointed as an acting chairman, taking over from Mai Mala Buni?
He said news. He said news.
Yeah, but what do you hear for the horse's mouth and you are the horse?
Governor Sani Bello there affirming, well, briefly though, that he indeed has taken over as the chairman of the Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC. GKB, what do you make of this latest development? Does it help, resolve issues of crisis within the ruling party?
Well, the original reason why the Mala Buni committee was set up was basically because the party was going through some crisis. And they were given 6 months, essentially, to solve this problem, make sure everybody is on the same page, and then have a convention. That's why they were given 6 months to do that. It's been 2 years. And they keep asking for more time to do whatever God knows. So this is just another step in what I think will be the final resolution of what APC will look like in the next few weeks. I'm glad that he said they are still going to do the convention, because that to me is fundamental to the survival of the party as a party in power.
All right, but while I do it, do you share similar views?
Yes, I think its removal is an indication that there is a deep-seated acrimony within the party, even though we are trying to gloss over it. Its removal is sudden and not democratically removed. It was also not democratically elected.
Yeah.
Because who are the people that took the decision that it should be removed? Was it the National Working Committee? Was it the governors? Was there a voting process? So we just had, more or less like a democratic, turnover of the table, like a coup. So I think it's more or less like either he has failed to meet the aspiration of those who installed him, or along the line, he defined his own course. Or, those who installed him feel that they have, exhausted his potentials and they need, they needed another person to achieve their aim. So it confirms the fact that there is a small group of people in APC that is calling the shot. And that runs contrary to the principles of democracy, party, democracy. And I hope this will not affect the overall outcome of the March 26th, because he was not removed by the party anyway, just by a clique of people, very powerful people. And I hope that, at the end of that convention, there are doubts that, APC will likely produce a candidate that is democratically elected and that is accepted to the generality of the members of the party.
BK, what's it like for you when you look at the manner in which Governor Mai Mala Buni was removed as the caretaker chairman of the party. How much of a concern is this for you, as you know, the order, so to speak, purportedly emanated from President Buhari, who is now no more in the country, at least, you know, for a short while?
Well, I don't know whether indeed President Buhari gave the directive that Mai Mala Buni should be replaced.
Carry on, BKO.
I can hear you.
Yes, carry on.
I do know that.
Right.
I do know that for 2 nights by the APC governors with some members of the caretaker committee, at least 8 members of the caretaker committee were already up in arms against Mai Mala Buni because they felt that he and the secretary had become too powerful. So, some point the governors decided that, look, let us look at the convention, the election committee for the election. That election committee for the election has more than 1,800 members. Some of the governors complained that their own nominees were not listed on the election committee, whereas the secretary of the party was said to have more than 200 persons that he contributed. There is no way by which we can verify all of these things, that an individual, for example, will have up to more than 200 persons listed on the election committee. So within the party, there is this, not just the contestation for power, but serious lack of trust between the power people within the party. It has reached a point that they could no longer trust one another. So Mai Mala Buni was invited to their meeting, the meeting between some governors and the 8 members of the caretaker committee who were against Mai Mala Buni and had demanded that he should resign. He didn't attend, but he sent the secretary of the caretaker committee to represent him. The secretary also stayed away, arguing that that meeting was called to plan a coup against the Mai Mala Buni leadership. So he spoke to them, they got through to him on phone, and he said he was not going to have anything to do with the meeting because it was meant to plan a coup against the leadership of the party. So where you have a caretaker committee and some people felt that they were being marginalized, they were not carried along, these were the people who reached out to governors and told the governors that, look, the zonal congress, the committee to organize the zonal congress was being unnecessarily overbloated, and that people were likely to come up with reports contradicting each other's reports were being brought into the equation. You understand that in some states we have two factions. So where you get where you fail to pick one person, you pick 2 persons, and both of them, you bring both of them into the equation, they are not likely to see things the same way. So at that point, they were already thinking that, look, this could put even the convention itself in jeopardy, where nominees of governors were not listed, and an individual will have more than 200 persons will contribute more than 200 persons to the same election planning committee. This was the issue that got them to meet over 2 nights, including yesterday. So I had been reading that, I had been hearing that this sort of decision will be taken, since last night. So I'm not surprised that this is what eventually happened today. But whether what has been done is legal, we really cannot say, because the convention committee itself was a product of handpicking on the part of the president and some of the people close to him. So, and the convention committee members had been arguing that, look, we were all inaugurated at the same time, we have the same power. So they felt that, look, the best thing to do was simply to kick the chairman out. One thing crucially happened that we need to also talk about. The first thing that Governor Bello did was simply to go and inaugurate those state chairmen. That's to send a clear message to people that Governor Bello was trying to address the anger that was already brewing, but the governor, the Mai Mala Buni, refused to inaugurate them. Some people have argued that he refused to inaugurate them because he didn't want to give them powers.
Well, BK, let me put you on hold. Let's get more reactions from the studio about this latest development in the APC. GKB, like I said earlier, the president is not in the country at the moment, and yet there are some reactions as to the basis for Mai Mala Buni's removal. Well, reportedly, on the orders of the president, BK was explaining on what could have been the rationale, and if you look at the reaction so far, some have justified the removal of Mr. Mai Mala Buni. Some have said that there were some allegations against him, alleging further that he wasn't among, or he was among an influential group of people who didn't even want the National Congress to hold in the first place.
Well, you have to look at it from two angles, really. You have to look at it from the legal viewpoints, that the committee itself was a product of necessity. It didn't follow any due process. Nothing was done according to party rules. In fact, there are members of the National Working Committee who had refused to do anything with the party since that thing was dissolved. And don't forget the case of Akeredolu, where they said that certain people cannot sign certain things because they are not recognized by law. Despite all these red signs, the Buni administration or Caretaker committee have been carrying on as if they have all the powers in the world. The dangers were there, that for the party to remain relevant and to be able to compete, you must hold a national convention. But it's obvious by what happened today that there are some forces within the party who do not want the democratically elected executives to come into office. Either they think they will dilute their powers, or they have an agenda down the line to ensure that whatever they've done will be thrown away. So today, what Mr. Bello has done is basically to empower the state branches of the party. And that, of course, is the fundamental backbone of the political party as we know it. Whether the president is aware of this decision or not, it will be very difficult for the party to go back and recognize the state chairman. It's not going to happen. So right now, whatever happens to this particular contraption, as it were, what has happened is that those who are democratically elected to run the party at state level have now been mandated to do their job.
All right, BKO, I'll allow you, to finish to wrap up your thoughts now before we move on to other topics.
Let me quickly correct something that I said earlier.
Right.
It wasn't the chairman of the party in the states that were inaugurated today. The election convention subcommittee members were the people inaugurated by the governor of Niger State. I want to believe that there are many people who are convinced that the governor of Yobe State has done a good job for the party. And that it is not the best thing to do, to treat him in the way that has been treated. One of his friends had what was happening during the meeting, and he had to race to one of his friends, who is a governor, he had to race to the place. So at the end of the day, perhaps some of the comments that the governor of Niger State made was part of the attempt to give Mai Mala Buni something that looks like a soft landing, that is befitting of someone who had worked hard for the party, instead of kicking him out as chairman in disgrace. So you can see a reluctance on the part of the the acting chairman, because when he was asked, he said, I'm acting chairman. A reluctance on his part to say, oh, I've stepped into the position of somebody who was removed. So
right.
he actually said that he's acting because he's not around, you know, because he's out of Nigeria. So we will still see a lot of intrigues as we move towards the election. But basically, the constitution of the election planning committee was what led to crisis, and one of the moves the governors have made to address this crisis is to take the decision that majority of them have taken after meeting with 8 members of the caretaker committee. So we don't know what will happen in the next few days, but we just keep our fingers crossed.
Indeed.
As the battle for power within the APC goes on and on.
Right. While I do your final words from you. We've run out of time, but
well,
let's accommodate
it's all
some
about
few seconds.
2023.
Right.
And, he spent more than 1 year there now, and I believe he has also built some forces. If he decides to fight back, it's not going to be, because there are better ways to have removed him, instead of just, doing the kind of open announcement like that. And I pray they'll be able to resolve the internal crisis without leading to greater problems.
All right, gentlemen, let's put this discussion on hold.